Welcome to QSR Nation, your weekly dose of food service marketing tips and business strategies for success. Here's your hosts, Josh Anderson, Beth Oots, and Anthony Pierce from the PFS Brands National Headquarters.
Hey everybody, welcome back to QSR Nation. As always, we have Josh, Beth, and Tony from the QSR Nation and PFS Brands National Headquarters in Holtzman, Missouri to talk about food service marketing and business strategies for success. Today, we are really honored to have Carrie Luxem. She is the CEO of Restaurant HR Group and CarrieLuxem.com, and she is like world renowned for her HR and restaurant expertise, so to speak. Carrie, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, guys. I'm super excited to be here.
Do you want to just give us a real quick background and how you got to be in the industry?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a restaurant girl. I had started in the restaurant industry as a teenager. I started at Dairy Queen, and I've never left the industry since. And so I did a lot of different jobs through my teen years and 20s, and then I started with Potbelly Sandwich Works, which when I started was a small sandwich shop based in Chicago. There were 3 restaurants, and I started the HR department there. And long story short, I stayed for almost 11 years and helped grow the company from the 3 stores in 1 market to over 220 in 10 markets. So wow. That's really where I learned a ton about supporting operators and what it really meant to have great people and systems and things like that. I left in 2010 to start I'm a mom, so I stayed home with my kids, and I started my own restaurant HR group. Started then, and I was just helping some restaurateurs with their HR. My husband is actually a restaurateur as well, so I thought I would help him with his business, and started to get calls, and essentially my business was born, and I saw there was a real need. I've always been very entrepreneurial, but I really saw the need to focus on HR processes and systems and simplify it a lot and really support operators with how to get great people, how to keep them, and the fun has never stopped. So with Restaurant HR Group, we handle the HR administration for restaurateurs. So usually when they're a little larger, they have 200 or more employees, where we take over the payroll, benefits, and HR administration. And then with CarrieLuxem.com, that's really where I'm on a mission to help restaurateurs understand the complexities of HR. So we're setting up a membership platform, and our members will have access to videos and on-demand training and articles and different things like that. But with that, so members will have that, I still produce a lot of free information. And my goal is to really help restaurateurs throughout the world. And it's been a lot of fun, and I'm just continuing to do stuff like this so I can continue to teach.
That's great, yeah.
I know when I started following you on LinkedIn, that's, how I was introduced to you, and some of your folks that reached out to us as well, and we got to chit chat and talk, and it was great to find our company and your companies are very much aligned in that aspect, that goal of just helping people achieve success. In fact, that's our tagline, is our support, your success. And I don't think sometimes folks really understand the value and importance that support really can bring to that bottom line, as well as the guest experiences overall for their restaurants.
Absolutely. And it's never ending. So it's like, we've got to talk about this stuff a lot. And, I've been working with operators for a really long time. I teach stuff. What I kind of realized, I teach certain things, or I'll do a workshop or whatever. There's no way to remember all of the things that they're taught. So we've got to figure out ways to apply lessons through stories and quotes and podcasts and training sessions and articles, and it's creating kind of a frenzy of information that is really, hopefully, translates to true help in restaurants. It's not easy to be a restaurateur. We know that. So I love that. I love your guys' mission.
Yeah, great. I know you mentioned one of our main pain points a lot of our retailers have, and that's just attracting and hiring top talent. What are some of the leadership and systems and you can put in place to actually attract that top talent and keep it?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things you can do, and here's what I will tell you typically happens. Restaurateurs are busy, and a lot of times the people aspect, they talk about it like it's the most important thing, but they don't apply it like it's the most important thing. They're spending the time on the operations thing or the customers or the marketing strategies. So I think to attract and retain great people, I mean, first and foremost, you have to sort of know who you are and what are your goals. You know, we talk a lot about vision, mission, and purpose, but really understanding who you are as a company, what makes you special, and that's going to be the first way you attract the right people, is understanding, who you are. And then, of course, having an understanding of what you really need in people. So a lot of times people are looking for staff, but they're just looking for happy people, or we need, good people. And sometimes that translates to, I need a body, kind of a thing. But, they need people to make sandwiches or make salads or whatever. But really, I think the biggest thing here is put the level of importance. There's nothing more important than filling your store with amazing people. And so take the time and energy to create a system and a process that works. But it's not like you're going to create a process and then it stops. You figured it out. It's never ending trial and error. Just like somebody goes out and finds, has a marketing strategy that's certainly different from month to month or every quarter or whatever. You change it up to get new clients or to get to new customers. Mm-hmm. It's the same with recruiting. So, but to go out and find them. So again, you have to understand your story. You have to, be able to articulate it. The days of now hiring a cashier still happens. But if you can connect to people on an emotional level somehow through telling your story and then putting it in a nice ad or doing a video or things like that, that's going to separate you. And yes, it takes time, and yes, it's a lot of work, but that isn't the point. You've got to spend the time and energy on it. And then there's just a ton of different things. And what I can't do is say, here are the 5 strategies everybody should use, because it's different depending on where you are in the country. It's different on if you're in the city of Chicago or if you're out in the suburbs. Depends on where you are, on what exactly will work. But there are tons of different job boards that are, there's new ones all the time, but there's all kinds of different job boards people can use. There's colleges and high schools and junior colleges that have career counselors and job boards that you can contact, and they can place your information. You should be doing having signs in your store window or up in the lawn that says you're hiring. With those kind of things, you want to make sure you don't just plop them up and leave them up for, decades, which you see sometimes. Well, that cafe has been hiring for 23 years, and the truth is they probably are hiring for a long time, but you've got to freshen things up and do different things. So some of our clients that really do a nice job at having great people, they make it a constant and everyday focus, not just the reactive situation, which is what we see a lot, but they are really actively talking with their team and getting referrals. And it becomes, when they have the great culture, it becomes a lot easier to get those people referred, whether it's a financial referral or just, hey, your friends want a job, we're always hiring kind of a thing. Some of our clients do recruiting cards that the managers can hand out. So you rock, we should talk, that kind of thing. There's a ton of stuff. You should be using your own social media if that's allowed. Some franchisees aren't allowed to use their social media for that kind of thing, but if you can use your social media, that is certainly a way to tell your story and to have a constant presence for what you're doing. Again, trying to make that emotional connection and really utilizing, I see oftentimes a lot of the smaller restaurant groups don't utilize their websites very well in social media, so really utilizing that well. So that's how you're going to generate candidates. And again, there's a lot of these new apps and recruiting tools that will do things electronically. And what I see happen sometimes is the restaurateurs get bombarded with applicants, and and I still hear the same thing. I really don't have anybody. Well, there's 300 people sitting in your email inbox. Mm-hmm. So you've got to figure out a way to get those applicants either into your restaurant or sift through them somehow, or maybe you dedicate a person in your restaurant that's a shift leader or a manager to help go through them, somebody that's good at it, but you probably have people that have expressed interest. This is what we see a lot, but it's just kind of it's just a missed opportunity. So but I'm a believer, especially at the hourly level, when you're looking for, cashiers and sandwich makers, it's really about happy people that have a history of being responsible, and they're passionate and all that stuff. So you've got to get them in front of you. Trying to screen people out over online, it's hard to do that. So, restaurateurs could host little hiring events and things like that in their restaurant and invite a ton of people in. Yeah, 50 people might show up, but then you can choose the 3 or 4 that you think are going to be the best fit for your restaurant, exactly what you're looking for.
Exactly. And also, making sure that, like you said, if you as the owner, the franchisee, if you aren't maybe the right person, to take the time, that has the time or willing to allocate the time to go through those candidates, then you got to pick somebody who can really give that time, dedicate, because missed opportunity is there. And I know I hear people say, well, I've applied at this place, and then you go and you're there and they're like, oh, we're short on help, and you just you don't ask the question, well, did you look at your applicants? Because 4 or 5 people that have applied there, but that's an ongoing problem, is the struggle with the time management side of managing people.
Yes, absolutely. And kind of to back it up a little, attracting. I mean, we talked about this a little, but you can spend hundreds of dollars on all of these different methods, but if you're not a place that's fun to work, if you're not paying a decent wage, if you're not creating an environment that people want to be in, you are going to be banging your head up against the wall forever. And I've seen, I spent a lot of time with Potbelly, and I remember we would have a store in a certain area. Like, there is nothing, the operator would say, there's nothing I can do to find great people. It's the area. The kids out here make, their parents make too much money, and there's just no talent pool to choose from. We would switch the manager to somebody who really got it, understood how to have fun, and really took the ownership and accountability for finding people for that restaurant. And guess what? There were no staffing issues in that same store, and so it really becomes, there are definitely areas that it's harder to find people. You're in the suburbs, every single restaurant is hiring. You just have to be a little bit better than everybody else. And how can you be a little bit better? You've got to care about your people. You've got to have a great and clean and amazing environment. You've got to respect your people. You've got to hire others that are awesome. You can't keep a bunch of poor performers on your team. I mean, all of these things matter. And again, yes, I always hear, but it's hard. Yep.
It is hard. It's going to take so long to do that. Yeah.
It's okay. It's hard, to have a reputation, to have a restaurant, whether you have 1 or 2 or you have 1 or 200, that you're an amazing place to work. I'm a very small company. I have just a handful of people in my company. It's a lot of work and effort for me every day to make sure I have an amazing culture and that my people are feeling respected and not overworked and have enough training. It takes a lot of effort. So I get that it's a lot of work, but operators need to go into it not with the expectation that it's not going to be a lot of work, that it is going to be a lot of work. And the ones that get up every day and make a commitment to make it awesome, those are the ones that are gonna create a great restaurant, gonna have a great restaurant. So,
and that's true. And once they get to that point, the next thing, I know Beth's talked about this a lot in the past about, that motivation of, having to get people going. She comes up with all kinds of mini games and things, but just trying to help that. I know
Just trying to incentivize, all of your employees that you possibly can do. It's just even those little challenges that are going to help them excel, not just in the job, but in life in general. Because you know what, especially for a lot of these different jobs that might be for high schoolers or anything like that, they may not know what they want to do in their future. But teaching them those life skills of, okay, I can be competitive, I can also learn how to upsell, I can talk to different people, I can be a cashier and talk and help with anyone that comes in the store, will only help them and better them in their future. And you can help mold them as an entrepreneur and as an owner of the store. So you might as well take advantage of that time. And you know what? They could be your next A player in your company and be the next owner of your store or the next manager.
100%. And I told you guys I started my career. I got my first job at Dairy Queen. The managers, the owners, managers of that restaurant, really all those things that you just said, that's what they were. They looked at it as not just a burger joint, people coming in to serve burgers and shakes. They really took the kids, I'll call them, under their wing, somebody like me, and taught me. They were super courteous. They taught me about leadership when I didn't even know what leadership was. Mm-hmm. And this is where the love for this industry started for me. And then I had some really terrible managers, leaders, or whatever, and I learned a ton from them as well. But I totally agree. And I think the first thing that matters is, like, as an HR person, I never stand up and say, you need to do these exact things and you need to play these games and you need to do this stuff. First and foremost, you need to be an authentic leader. What people will be inspired by your authenticity. And but everybody wants, which I think is what you were just talking about, is to be cared about, to be shown the way in life. Everybody wants to be talked to in a very courteous way and to be recognized, not only for their time in the restaurant, but hey, it's their birthday, they're having a baby, they're getting married. If you make those things a big deal, you're going to build loyalty, and people are going to want to work hard for you. I see it all the time, So there's a million little things that operators can do that, quite honestly, cost nothing, and they feel really good to do them. Writing somebody a handwritten note saying, "Hey, you just are making a difference in this company." That goes such a long way. It takes nothing but a little bit of time and a little bit of care, that sort of thing. So I totally agree with you, Beth.
Exactly. Sean Bertram, our CEO, he sent out an email a couple months ago about just the effects of what a handwritten note can do. And it's so funny because there's several members of our company that have started to do that. And it's made such an impact. And, it's just those little steps and feeling of the appreciation that you can get goes so far. And just think about those kids, like you were just talking about, like molding their future like that and saying, like, this is what that appreciation feels like, and you're just teaching them that next step of leadership.
And not even just for that kid aspect, but for the adult, who has a passion for the industry but maybe hasn't found, the right fit for themselves, to be able to walk into a place where they're appreciated and, to feel respected, to feel, like they're being, molded and, and find, career path-wise opportunities and stuff, that can be, huge for your bottom line as an owner, if you want to think of it in those terms. And not only from lower retention, or lower turnover, but higher retention and, better experiences, more consistency. There's just so many advantages that come out of these inexpensive investments of your time to just actually show the appreciation and, just, again, that motivation through that.
Absolutely. I mean, this is one of the biggest reasons I love the restaurant industry. We have such an amazing platform as leaders, as restaurant owners, as franchisees, as retailers, to impact the lives of others, And if you really do that and you focus on that being your main goal, it's amazing what people will do to ensure you're a success, And so many people, I don't know very many people that didn't spend some time in their life in a restaurant. I mean, even Madonna worked at Dunkin' Donuts, okay? So everybody sort of starts, or spends time in there. So if you look at your role as a restaurant manager or a franchisee as really, taking care of people and making an impact in someone's life, not only is it just so fulfilling as a person, it really does make a difference. I remember in the first few years at Potbelly, and the visionary of that company used to say, and I know it's much more complex than this, but he used to say, don't worry about the numbers. Take care of people, and everything is going to work out. Now, obviously, there's a lot that goes into that, but we really did obsess over creating fans, and we meant internal fans of the brand. Sounds like a lot like what you guys do at your company, but we really focused on that, and it was smashing success. We were crazy successful, and so I was really kind of, when I went into Potbelly, I didn't really have the experience. I didn't spend many years with restaurant groups, and so I really just focused on doing that, and I saw the power in that, and just really getting up every day and making sure that I could impact somebody or a number of people positively. And again, it's so funny when I get calls from restaurateurs or managers, and they say, if I could just get good people, I could focus on my job. It's like, that is your job. That is what you do. It's not you're a coach. A coach doesn't recruit a bunch of players and then they just win the game every day. You got to work with them. You've got to spend time making sure that they understand how to play the game, and they're going to have good days and bad days, and some people aren't going to make the team. Some people are going to be your star players, and it's very similar to kind of a sports coach, and if you think of yourself that way, if you change your mindset and you really think of yourself as putting your effort into people, and of course having great systems and processes, you're going to win.
For sure, like you've alluded to before, that's basically the difference between leadership and management.
Yep, totally. Now, I'm a believer. Management is so important. I own a company. I manage things, right? I have to manage the things to keep my teams motivated, but leadership is really about making emotional connections and inspiring people. That's the difference. And you can be a manager and not be a really great leader. And I think everybody has the capabilities to lead, because I really believe leadership is about making emotional connections and being a good person. Not everybody can run a restaurant group or has the skill set to be an entrepreneur or whatever it may be, but everybody can be nice to other people, can inspire other people through caring about them, through taking a vested interest in people every day and pushing people to get forward. And that's what I'm really focused on doing, is giving people the tools to have great systems and giving people the tools to understand the difference between managing and leading and how you can be a better leader every day. And part of being a better leader is improving yourself, focusing on your own personal development and professional development every single day. So I love that, Anthony. It's totally true.
That was actually Josh, but I'm going to take the accolades for it.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's hard to tell you guys apart.
That's okay.
You mentioned the tools, and one of the tools you've got coming out for folks is coming out on March 20th.
Right, yes.
Big book release. So what's the name of the book?
Restaurant Operators HR Playbook.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it. I know our HR team is looking forward to getting their hands on a copy as well.
Yeah,
and
I'm really excited. And, what I'm trying to do with that, so this kind of, this book, I've been working on it for over a year, and it's really, the playbook is, I'm really about simplification. I think oftentimes HR, has a tendency to be very complicated, and I just feel like it doesn't need to be that complicated. So basically this book is 11 chapters, starts with culture, and then chapter 2 is recruiting, and then it's hiring, onboarding, all the way through the life cycle of an employee, the last 2 chapters being termination, and leadership is the actual very last chapter. So I talk very briefly, it's less than 200 pages, the entire book. So it's, I talk briefly about each category, and then I provide what we're calling the play, which is a worksheet that steps step-by-step will help people create their own recruiting strategy, and then how do you create a great culture? And so this book, and I know I created the worksheets because I think a lot of operators that I know at least will flip to that. They're not going to read, my chapter. They're going to flip to. So I made it so the worksheet, if that's all they look at, hopefully they can get out of it what they need. But and then I sprinkled it with some little leadership motivational things and that kind of thing. But what I really think it's going to be good with. So my book, is sort of the playbook, the tool, and then the ongoing videos and articles and posts that I do either on LinkedIn or through the membership platform that we are creating that launches at the same time as the book, having all of that information all the time. I mean, the membership will be a lot of what I do for free, a little bit more on-demand training and a lot more tools in terms of templates and guidebooks and things like that, but it'll just be organized in the same way as the book. So it's basically 11 categories. So if you are interested in learning about recruiting, you can click on that. There's articles, there's posts, there's videos, there's on-demand training kind of a thing. So I really feel like, like we talked about earlier, just having a bunch of different tools in a bunch of different ways, it's really how people are going to learn this stuff. They got to hear it a lot. They've got to see it a lot. And again, in very, very different formats.
Exactly. And there's so many people that are out there. They all have questions. And I think there's just a lot of people, especially when it comes to HR things, they're afraid to ask because they think that, okay, I'm the only person in the world that's thinking
For
this.
sure.
But that's so not the case. And everyone has the same questions. And so never be afraid to try and reach out to you or look at your on-demand training.
Definitely.
Just because it's going to be so impactful for you, but you're going to be able to help other people out there as well.
Absolutely, yes, thank you. And I definitely agree with that. And that's why I try to get ahead of it. I mean, to me, I'm in the trenches every day as a, quote, HR person, and I cannot remember it all. And I have to look things up, and I have to do, resources. And by the way, I'm really constantly, every single day, trying to figure out how to be a better leader. It's a never-ending process. And so, I try to get ahead of it, those questions that people don't want to ask because they think they should know. I try to talk about those things. And I try to break it down in a way that makes it really easy to digest, And so that's why if you do follow me on LinkedIn, you see I do little posts. Sometimes it's compliance, sometimes it's a leadership thing, sometimes it's about starting a business, and just constantly, I just never stop. I just never shut up, you guys. Keep going.
Well, I have to say, I love your posts on LinkedIn. So not only just to get your book, but I mean, definitely follow you on LinkedIn because your posts are wonderful and they're just they are short, but they're just those great tidbits of information.
Yeah, and another
what's interesting about the shortness? Like if I do a video, I'm a restaurant person and I have a lot of, restaurateurs and chefs and stuff that like my information. If my videos get to about 3 minutes, I get a lot of grief for how long they are. Like 3 minutes, it's not that long, but people don't have time. They just want quick information frequently.
And that's one thing that we've done with the podcast. We always try to, do short, quick segments. We have guests on, we do a little bit longer time, and stuff. But it's trying to give that short burst of consistent information so that folks, whether they're a Champs franchise, a Blue Taco franchise, Cooper's Express, or someone not even affiliated with us, we just want to, like you're doing, go out there and just help raise the bar in the industry.
Yeah.
Because it's so important. We have an HR playbook for our franchisees, and we've got our communications tablet, to get out there so they can have these quick opportunities to at their fingertips to get this additional training and stuff. So these tools that you're providing that we have for our franchisees stuff, they are so key to creating successful businesses and developing strong internal leadership people.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Be sure to join us next week as we finish our conversation with Carrie Luxem.
Stop by next week for another QSR Nation episode or visit pfsbrands.com.